Welcome back to Write, Writer, Write. I'm your host, Deborah Fraze, and today we're wrapping up our 3-part series on writing nonfiction. Stay tuned at the end for a special announcement. I've got something that might help you build momentum for your writing practice. In Writing Nonfiction Part 1, we focused on figuring out what you really want to say and who you want to say it to. In Part 2, we mapped a blueprint for your manuscript and some of the support materials you'll need to bring it to life. Now we're going to take a closer look at where your book begins, the introduction. So what's the big deal about the introduction? Your introduction ties your premise together in a nutshell. Shaping it well helps you and your reader. For you, the introduction is an opportunity to review the impactful aspects of your project. Remember those 4 key questions we talked about? Purpose, message, problem, and audience? You can't write an adequate introduction without honing in on your answers. Crafting the introduction helps you refine your perspective. And a bonus? If you write it well, it's a subtle sales pitch. For your readers, the introduction is an invitation to solve a problem. It lets them know what's in your book or article for them, why they should trust you to offer a solution, and it tells them you understand their pain points. It confirms your book is worth the time and energy it will take them to read it. Think of your introduction as shaping your path. P-A-T-H. P is for problem. Present the problem or pain point through a story from your own life or someone else's in a way that hooks a reader's attention. Don't forget to ask permission or use pseudonyms unless you're quoting from a study. A is for answer. Through your storytelling, highlight how your book provides an answer or solution to the problem and show readers how they'll benefit from it. T is for trust. Show readers why you are the right guide for the journey. This may come through the problem you share, especially if it's drawn from personal experience, or it might include a glimpse of relevant background information. H is for horizon, what lies ahead. Let readers know what they'll encounter in your pages. For example, if your book is divided into sections or chapters follow a certain framework, let them know. If you have specific instructions for using the book or any other essential information, be sure to make it clear. Here's how a few successful nonfiction authors frame their introductions along the path. First of all, we've got James Clear and Atomic Habits. What is the problem? Most people struggle to make meaningful changes because big goals feel overwhelming and unmanageable. What answer does he provide? James Clear introduces the idea that small, consistent actions, those atomic habits, are the key to lasting transformation. How does he build trust? He begins Atomic Habits with a gripping personal story, a devastating baseball accident that left him with severe injuries. By sharing how he rebuilt his life step by step, he demonstrates firsthand the power of incremental progress, those tiny but mighty atomic habits. What does he point to in the horizon? With this foundation, Clear opens the door to a hopeful, practical vision. Anyone can utilize simple, repeatable systems to cultivate better habits and achieve profound long-term change in their own lives. Then we have Daniel Pink's book, When. So what's the problem here? Well, everyone seeks success in one way or another, but most people assume success is determined by talent and effort. What's his answer? Daniel Pink reveals that the hidden patterns in our daily rhythms shape performance, health, and decision-making. How does he build trust? He opens When with vivid examples from Olympic swimmers whose results hinge on the clock, to students whose test scores rise or fall depending on the time of day. These stories ground Pink's argument in real-world evidence. So what can readers expect on the horizon? With this foundation, Pink offers readers the chance to align their choices with the science of timing, making smarter decisions, working more effectively, and thriving over the long term. And then we have Cheryl Strayed's Tiny Beautiful Things. This book holds a selection of her Dear Sugar advice columns. She didn't write the introduction herself. Instead, the original Dear Sugar columnist, Steve Almond, jumps in with an example of her unflinching honesty and compassionate insight. Here's how the path appears in tiny, beautiful things. What's the problem? Many people search for clean, tidy solutions to life's problems, but they overlook how much we actually need compassion and true connection. What's the answer? Almond shares one of Strade's earliest Dear Sugar responses, which is raw and deeply human. How is trust built? Strade's emotional courage and her willingness to expose her own wounds create an immediate connection. Readers feel she understands because she's been there, so how can they not trust her? What does the horizon promise? From that foundation, Tiny Beautiful Things invites readers into a journey of hope and shared humanity, where even the most difficult circumstances hold some form of beauty. Even though this book doesn't start with a standard introduction, it still presents the problem, suggests the answer, earns trust, and points to what's ahead. Whether practical or personal, a good introduction makes a promise to readers. Stick with me, and this will be worth your time. The voice and tone you choose also contribute to your path. If you're writing self-help or personal growth, your tone might be warm, conversational, maybe even a little vulnerable, or a lot vulnerable if you happen to be Cheryl Strayed. Readers in this space want to feel like they're hearing from a trusted friend. On the other hand, if you're writing a professional or industry book, your tone may need to be a little more authoritative and confident. That doesn't mean stiff, it means credible and clear. Remember, nonfiction is broad. Your subject matter and your ideal reader will influence your style, and that's a good thing. Don't force yourself into a voice that doesn't fit. Let your material and your vision of your ideal reader guide you. So what happens if your path isn't quite clear? If you're not confident enough about your content to meet the demands of an introduction, go back to the 4 questions we covered in Writing Nonfiction Part 1, Prepare. Number 1, what is your book's purpose? Number 2, what is your heart message? Number 3, what problem are you solving? And number 4, who is your ideal reader? If you begin writing without answers to these questions, your work will lack clarity and focus, making the next steps harder. If you can't resist the urge to write anyway, write a chapter, then stand back and tackle the introduction again and those questions. And let's get one thing straight. It's never one and done. Regardless of where you begin or how well you know your path, don't expect perfection on the first try. The act of writing is an act of discovery, so write a messy first draft. Just get your ideas on the page. By the time you're finished drafting, you'll know your book inside out. You've discovered its rhythm and energy, so another draft will let you refine everything, including that all-important introduction. Well, that's it for our 3-part series on writing nonfiction. We've talked about figuring out what you really want to say, who you want to say it to, developing an outline, and structuring a powerful introduction. Now you're ready to draft your nonfiction book. Want some tips on making your efforts as successful as possible? Check out episode 9, Draft Like You Mean It, and set yourself up for success. And that announcement I mentioned, I'm launching the Manuscript Momentum Challenge on November 1st. It's free. You can work on any writing project you want, and you set your own goals for the month. It's not about meeting massive word counts or finishing a draft, although that's certainly possible. It's about progress, consistency, and showing up for your story, for you. I'll be there too, writing along with you. For more information, see the link in the show notes or find me at deborahfraze.substack.com and join the Manuscript Momentum Challenge. Wherever you are, just start and keep going. Trust your voice. Trust the process. And thanks for joining me today.